It's another extremely warm summer day here in Germany. Trying to head over to the studio, work as much as possible on music without getting distracted from sweating, although I'm just sitting. Let's see how this goes. It's already 30 plus degrees. I hate that. It's really about time to get an AC for the studio, because I don't know why the past 3 summers in Germany were exceptionally warm, like crazy warm, like never before. And I just can't really concentrate and work when it's that warm. But I actually got an option to, yeah, let's maybe try it out. I mean, unfortunately, no chance. It's even warmer down here, so there's just one possibility left. Yeah. This feels a lot better. It's like water cooling a computer, water cooling myself. It helps, definitely feels a lot better. Now let's see if I can actually make some music, because still working on that Ashes song. There's still some things I'm not 100% satisfied with, so let's get started. I gotta say, that little bucket helps a little. What doesn't help is all of the outboard gear, like all of it is extremely warm. So let me try and share what I've done so far on that song. I actually started like layering a little, making it more interesting, and I think it's a good example for like my favorite type of mixing, having a very minimal and clean kind of song with just a few elements, but make them work together in the best way possible. And sometimes the trick is layering. It sounds like one sound, but it's actually 2 or 3, filling out frequencies and like playing around with frequencies to make everything sound like one. That's the kick, very simple, a sample out of my sample pack. By the way, if you're interested, today's your very last chance to get all 5 sample packs, all past 5 ones and the very new one for $5. First link in the description. The kick, I didn't do anything to it, because it's like already a sample that I've used a lot of times. I then have here a snare, and the snare is already layered. So we got layer number 1. It's too warm, like the computer can't handle it. Let's try changing it. I think it won't help. Yeah, it's already at 1024 samples for the buffer. Okay, I can't. Like, Logic is running pretty alright, although it's warm, but screen recording and recording internal audio just doesn't work. I'll drop the screen recording and just capture it with that camera. That's all I can do. So yeah, we got kick and 1 snare sample, again, out of the sample pack. And that snare is more for like the reverb and the tail of the sound, less for the snap and attack. Sounds horrible on its own, but then the main one is added. That one has the snap, the attack, the body, like everything. EQing wise, just cutting the low frequencies away, boosting a little bit the top end, just like sculpturing it and making it work together. The reverb, quite important, getting the timing right and the amount of reverb, but that's something that comes with experience and depends on the tempo of the song and the other elements. So that's like the first layering, and layering percussions and kicks is pretty easy. It's a lot harder for melodic parts, so let's go into the bass line. We got, where's like the main bass? I think that one is the main bass. No, actually not. Like this one right here. I don't know why it's named top bass. Pretty dark and deep out of Diva. And just an LFO tool, side chaining, making it pump and more room for the kick. And the EQ is just cutting away the very, very low end. And this one is like the main sub bass. I should maybe rename it to sub bass. And it wasn't enough. So let's maybe listen to everything without the second layer that I actually added later on. That's the layer that I added. It's playing the same notes, and this one is Omnisphere. And I chose it because it's actually adding more sub. Usually I would cut the top bass a lot more, but here more sub was needed. It's a pretty slow track, 105 BPM, so I have more space in between of the kicks. So I mainly choose it because it already has like this bit crushing effect on it. It gives like the bass sparkle and makes it cut through and sound like bass even higher frequencies. You can see it in the analyzer, like up here. You got like, what is it, like 15K some frequencies, and both together. It's again just like a hint. It's that like little sparkle, like roughening up the bass a little for in the top end to make it audible. And then for the lead plug sound, basically something similar. I have a main sound that does 90% of the sound. And then I've added to it like stuff that just makes it richer. For example, this one. You can't actually really hear it, but it's still there. If you mute it, something is missing. And then there's another layer. So just the main, a bit boring, and then I'll add both of these layers. Adds more attack, a little more sustain without mudding it up, which I think works really well in the mix. So that's basically what I've done to the track to improve it. Like, I mix it in a new room, which big difference. Use the outboard gear, the summing, small difference, but still a difference that is worth it. And the rest was just like adding where things were missing, layering it. But again, whenever I layer, I always have a main sound that does 90%, and then I just add a little here and there. And usually it should be just audible if you mute the second or third layer. If you go up to 4 or 5 layers, in my opinion, that's already too much. I would go back to the main sound and change that. But adding 1 or 2 layers definitely can help. I will now try to put my feet back into that bucket, put more ice in there, try to cool down the MacBook and try to work a little more, because like constructing way too warm music production, yeah, I kind of can still continue, but my gear is not so happy about the heat. Still thinking about a Mac Pro, but yeah, that's too expensive, and Apple's very close to switching the processor, so it would be really dumb to buy a new Mac Pro that should last for 5, 6, 7 years and have like an old chipset in there. So let's see what Apple comes up with. Whoa! It's raining like crazy. That's really a joke. I've been complaining this entire day about how warm it is. And now it dropped from 38 to maybe 21 degrees just in like 16, 17 minutes. It's just started raining 16, 17 minutes ago. Entire city is flooded. Everybody's running except me. I can't, like my shoes don't let me run. I'll be soaking wet getting back home. Also this camera, very wet. I hope you can still see me, still hear me. And honestly, I was so close heading back home and just ordering an AC. But it's really just not needed for Germany. We have maybe 20 days per year that are too warm to work. And usually they're followed by this.